The jungle of Zelon 4 was a place where even the shadows had teeth. Trees towered hundreds of meters into fog, their roots curling like serpents over the moss-covered ground. Insect the size of a man's hand buzzed overhead, and strange cries echoed through canopy. Most humans who visited the planet never strayed far from the fortified colony cities. But Daniel Kane had never been like most humans. Daniel was an explorer, a survivalist, and, some whispered, a fool. He believed in learning about alien cultures up close, without the safety of plasma fences or armored escorts. He walked alone into the untamed heart of the jungle with nothing more than his energy rifle, a survival pack, and a stubborn will. For days, he had been cataloging medicinal plants and sketching strange ruins when fate dropped a choice in his lap. It happened on the 6th morning. Daniel was following a trail of claw marks when he heard a scream, high-pitched, desperate, and unlike any human cry. He broke into a run, pushing through thick ferns until he reached a clearing. There he saw her, an alien girl, barely out of adolescence, with indigo-hued skin and silver markings across her cheeks, was cornered against a fallen log. Her wide, luminous eyes glowed faintly as they darted in panic. Standing before her, muscles rippling under its armored hide, was a beast Daniel recognized from his research, a Tarquin predator, known to be one of the deadliest creatures on Zelon 4. Its jaws alone could crush bone like dried twigs. The girl raised a crude spear, but her hands trembled. The beast circled her, growling low, preparing to strike. Daniel knew the outcome was inevitable if he did nothing. He acted on instinct. "Hey!" he shouted, charging into the clearing. The Tarquin snapped its head toward him, snarling. Daniel raised his rifle and fired a searing blue bolt. The shot grazed the creature's flank, not enough to kill, but enough to enrage. It lunged at him with terrifying speed. Daniel rolled aside, barely escaping its fangs. The girl gasped, "Run!" Daniel shouted at her. But instead of fleeing, she cried out in her own language, a mix of clicks and tones, trying to distract the beast. Her bravery astonished him. Together, they fought, Daniel blasting with his rifle, the girl jabbing with her spear. At last, Daniel managed to plant a perfect shot through the Tarquin's exposed throat. With a roar, the beast collapsed, shuddering, and went still. Breathing hard, Daniel turned to the girl. She was staring at him with wide eyes, her chest heaving. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she stepped forward, touched her forehead to his chest in a gesture he didn't understand, and whispered something soft. Before he could ask her name, she fled into the jungle. The following days passed in strange silence. Daniel thought of the girl often. Had she been a wanderer? A scout? Did her people know he had saved her life? He considered searching for her tribe, but decided against it. On Zelon 4, alien clans were fiercely protective, and a lone human wandering into their territory could easily be mistaken for an enemy. But 3 days later, the answer came to him. Daniel was preparing a meal of roasted root vegetables when the ground began to tremble. He looked up to see dozens of figures emerging from the jungle. They moved like shadows, tall aliens with spears, bows, and decorated armor fashioned from bones and hides. At their center walked the girl he had saved. His pulse quickened. She said something sharp in her language, and 2 warriors stepped forward. Daniel braced himself, fearing hostility, but instead they lowered their weapons and knelt before him. One by one, the rest of the tribe did the same, their heads bowed in reverence. Even the chief, a towering alien with horns carved with symbols, lowered his spear in salute. The girl approached Daniel, her silver eyes shining. She placed a hand over her heart and then gestured toward him. Slowly, in broken galactic common, she spoke. "You saved daughter chief. You saved tribe blood. We give loyalty." Daniel's mouth went dry. He looked at the rows of warriors kneeling before him, their faces solemn and proud. This wasn't gratitude. This was oath. By saving the chief's daughter, he had earned something far greater than thanks. He had earned the loyalty of an entire clan. That night, they celebrated. Fires burned bright in the jungle clearing, as drums pounded a rhythm that echoed through the trees. The tribe roasted meat, danced, and sang in a language Daniel could barely follow. The chief himself placed a carved necklace of bone around Daniel's neck, marking him as blood brother to the clan. The girl sat beside him, watching quietly. Her name, he learned, was Sarah. She told him in halting words that the Tarquin had been hunting their people for weeks. Many had died. By killing it, Daniel had not only saved her life, but lifted a shadow from the tribe. "You are hero," she whispered. Daniel shook his head. "No, just a man who couldn't watch someone die." But Sarah only smiled, as though she knew something he didn't. Over the next days, Daniel lived among the tribe. They showed him how they wove their homes into the treetops, how they hunted with silent coordination, how they honored the forest spirits before every meal. In return, Daniel shared his survival knowledge and demonstrated tools humans used: purification tablets, fire starters, medical kits. The bond grew quickly. Children followed him, laughing as he showed them how to carve sticks into toys. Warriors sparred with him, testing his strength, and Sarah never strayed far from his side. But peace rarely lasted long in the jungles of Zealand 4. On the 7th day, scouts returned with grim news. Another Tarquin had entered their hunting grounds, and this one was larger than the last. The tribe grew restless. Some muttered about abandoning their settlement. Others whispered that Daniel, the beast slayer, had been sent by the forest spirits themselves to protect them. The chief called a council. "You killed one," the chief said through Sarah, who translated. "Can you kill another?" Daniel hesitated. One Tarquin had nearly torn him apart. Another, even larger, would be suicide. But as he looked at Sarah, the girl he had saved, the one who had brought her people to his side, he knew what choice he had to make. "I'll try," he said. The hunt began at dawn. Warriors painted their faces with white ash, and Daniel checked the charge on his rifle. Sarah insisted on coming, despite her father's protests. Hours later, they found it. The Tarquin was a monster even by its species standards, massive, armored, its eyes glowing red in the shadows. It roared, shaking the ground, and charged. The battle was chaos. Spears shattered against its hide. Warriors were thrown aside like dolls. Daniel fired blast after blast, trying to find a weak spot. The creature lunged at Sarah, but Daniel shoved her away, taking the brunt of its tail swipe. Pain exploded in his ribs, but he forced himself up, aiming one final shot into the beast's gaping mouth. The rifle discharged with a thunderous crack. The Tarquin convulsed, then collapsed into mud. Silence fell. Then, as one, the tribe erupted in cries of triumph. Sarah rushed to Daniel, tears streaking her indigo skin. "You saved us again. Tribe owes you life." Daniel, bleeding and exhausted, managed a weak smile. "Guess I'm stuck with you now." From that day forward, the tribe swore eternal loyalty. They painted his deeds into their ceremonial walls, sang songs of the human beast slayer, and even adopted some of the survival tools into their traditions. Wherever Daniel walked, he was no longer just an outsider. He was family. For Daniel, who had come to Zealand for searching only for knowledge, the outcome was something he never could have imagined. Not fame, not riches, but the trust of a people who had once hidden in the shadows of their deadly world. And at the heart of it all was Sarah, the girl he had saved in a moment of reckless compassion, a moment that had changed both their worlds forever.